Hi, Siri, Gian.
Hello, Ian. I'm so
So,
happy looking forward to this retreat, September 4th to 7th.
yeah, September 4th to 7th, it's coming up. So we're going to have this amazing retreat called Fall into Feeling in Kenwood, California, September 4th to 7th. And it's going to be an intimate, amazing opportunity for, falling back into our true selves, finding our voices, emotional release, coming together in community, letting go of what's not serving us, and ultimately creating more space for joy and pleasure in our lives and happiness and better health. So it's an incredible honor and an incredible blessing to be able to learn from you, Sirgion, and to co-facilitate and to collaborate with you in these various intensive Reichian Breathwork and Pranayama Yoga intensive retreats. And I would just love for you to be able to share with people who might be interested in this retreat that's coming up. If you could share your thoughts about the retreat and specifically why is it so important for people to actually participate and to come to something like this? Why is it important for people?
Most of us have so much on our plate constantly, and to be able to go to a place where we can really experience our inner sanctuary, our own inner stillness, find our love, find our heart. And consistently, when you and I lead things together, that's what happens. People become so creative. The joy just comes up to the surface. People feel absolutely safe being vulnerable. Extraordinary safety people experience in these environments. And then we've been so fortunate to be able to lead breath work and sound and rhythm in places that are breathtakingly beautiful. And this one is no exception. We both bring a lot of heart to it and want to create a space that's right for each individual, as different as people are, so that everybody feels safe. It's a space to tap into their own inner abundance.
I want to bring something up about the feeling of safety. Obviously, we're trauma informed practitioners and facilitators and therapists, but can you speak to why and how, when individuals breathe and release and they lean into their shit, when they lean into their trauma, their emotions, the stuff that they've stuffed and contracted and put inside their bodies and haven't fully processed or surrendered to or faced, how does that relate to this idea of safety? Even though we're creating a safe space and we're going to create a container where we're super super connected and empathetic and there for people, but is there any likelihood that there could be opportunities when they maybe don't feel safe, and why?
Well, whatever's in there, whether it's joy or creativity or inspiration or grief, whatever's in there, when people do certain types of breath, those things will come up and out. So it's not always a pretty picture, but being with people who are as heart-centered and creative as the participants always are, it's a very safe place. And people can always leave the room if they need to go back to their room or go into
Mm-hmm.
a swimming pool. There's no rule that a person has to do things except how they feel to do them. And with this special kind of breathing that I've been doing since 1972,
Yeah.
you've been doing all of your life. These types of breathing and this love of sound, the creativity that's fostered in that environment allows people to let things come up they never would in another space in all likelihood. You and I are like grandmothers who are so delighted with anything the grandchild does. Whether a person throws up or starts laughing or crying, you and I really support people in whatever their process is. And so do the participants. And
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a space devoted to stillness and openness and creativity and love. So it's stuff that could never come up at home will be safe to let no longer being held in the body in a way that restrains us, to let that happen.
Yeah, to just surrender and lean into it, even if it's uncomfortable, or even
Yeah.
if it brings up things that don't feel safe.
Mhm.
It's important to let go of those things that don't feel safe and to fully release them so that we can ultimately live in more balance in our bodies.
Every time that I've seen you work with people with breath and sound, you're so present with them. And I'm just in awe how you learn people's names immediately, how you are so spontaneous, and what you do seems to be absolutely geared toward the person or persons you're working with. Can you talk about your process of your creativity?
I mean, of course, there's the soul journey and my ancestors and kind of who I was before I came into this body. That's prevalent, but also I'm led and guided by my intuition. Obviously, there's life history and life knowledge. Growing up in being a third generation breathwork practitioner, and growing up in a home and a community full of healers and other breath workers, and particularly my mom, she bestowed upon me an incredible innate aptitude in just being present and surrendering to holding space for others during very tumultuous, robust, intense release. I can really just lean into it and be really empathetic and compassionate and present. And I think I owe a lot of that to being brought up in it with my mom and having grown up in it, and also doing years and years of the breathwork therapy sessions myself with you, with my mom, with my mom's teachers, Deborah Cucurudo, and just having received and participated in such intense emotional release and surrendering to my own somatic physiological needs. I think that has really helped me become very well equipped to be there for others in that process and to really hold on to them and surrender to letting them just do whatever they need to do. One of the hardest things to do for a good facilitator is being able to empower the person you're serving to be self-initiated, self-driven, self-sufficient, really empowering them to take their own control of their own healing process and not stifling it or telling them how to change or what to do, and not interrupting their process when they're doing it. It's a really delicate balance because as the facilitator, we want to continue to challenge them, challenge their physiology, challenge their nervous system, challenge their neuroses, challenge their resistance to their own leaning into and surrendering to their emotional need to discharge. So we want to challenge that. We want to poke it gently and help elicit that. But we also want to create a lot of space for them to be empowered to find their own way to that, so that we're not supplementing or doing it for them. And then also so that we're not stifling a potential process right before it was about to emerge. We can get in our own head as therapists and facilitators and be like, oh, well, now it's time for me to tell them to do a different thing, or I'm supposed to do this. But what I really, really am fully capable of doing, and I do very well, is I just get the heck out of the way. I try to poke and elicit and support and kind of scratch the itch and get them going on what they need to be going, and provide them guidance and instructions, and let them know I'm there and that I'm there for them, to hold them and to create space for them, but then to get out of the way and not over prompt and over cue and over, interfere with something right before a big breakthrough is about to happen. And what we want to do in breathing and activating the body and the nervous system and the musculature is to create movement. To create movement for release, to create movement, to create space for more happiness and joy and pleasure. Albeit sometimes creating that movement brings up a lot of shit that hurts and it can be scary or past trauma. Ultimately, we want to move past that and find space for joy and pleasure. The drumming can be such a stabilizing and reassuring modality to provide a safer container for the person's release. And it can also activate the primal capacity to just be a beast, and to let that stuff out. And the drums provide that safe container because it's rhythm and it's activating. And our brainstem is the most primitive part of our brain, and that's one of the primary rhythm centers of our body and our physiology and our executive functioning. And so neurologically and physiologically on a somatic level, both, the drums really create the full circle experience. They bring us back into our primal innate selves, and they give us permission to lean into that release. So that's a really important piece to the work that we're doing now, is this synchronization and this synergy with drumming and rhythm, and how it supports our breath rate and how it supports our ability to actually scream and It can also provide a little bit of a comfort blanket, like people can't hear you screaming as much because there's the drumming going on. And so it provides a little bit of a safer space permission to be loud because there's drumming going on and there's music. And so it's activating and creating almost a rhythmic veil to grant safe passage to actually be loud.
What a beautiful way of saying that, the rhythmic veil. I had been leading breathwork for 50 years before you brought drumming into it occasionally, and you do it so discreetly and so attuned to the group. And everything you do, Ian, you have this amazing, strong, vibrant male energy, and you're a father. You have this huge heart at the same time. So it's strong, bold energy with great sensitivity at the same time. It's just a delight seeing you work. I get the feedback over and over that people come to these retreats and have delicious moments and breakthroughs. And not only that, at the retreat, they take it home with them. They can remember the creativity and love and empowerment and bring it into the daily life. And we've seen that over and over again.
Yes, yes. Giving the people tools to take into their daily life for their own self-initiated breath practice is absolutely fundamental.
It's so beautiful how aligned the people who happen to come to these retreats are with each other and with our purpose in creating a space for them where they can really make valuable, creative, tangible changes.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Something that's important to mention, and this is something that my mom would echo all the time is, as much as we want to be inclusive and invite anybody and everybody needs to breathe and tap into this, it's also important to let prospective participants, we need to let them know that, it's hard work and people need to come willing to show up. They need to be ready to take this dive. It's not for the faint of heart. We're looking to attract people who are ready to do the hard work because it is a scary thing sometimes for people to release and lean into their emotional trauma. And not everybody has deep, deep emotional trauma. So that's okay too. And that's a great thing. But just knowing that we need to let people know this is hard work and the resistance is strong. Our own neuroses, the other split personality of us, the saboteur who wants to run away from the problems. I mean, I almost bring it back to the dark side and the light side of the force, like in Star Wars, it's like the dark side of the force is so strong, but ultimately the light side of the force wins out in the end. But sometimes we really have to confront that dark side of the force, and that resistance will be difficult for some people. So it's important to know that you got to come ready to surrender to the discomfort of breathing. You would think it's so easy. Oh, we're just going to breathe for an hour for one of our sessions. 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, whoa, twitching, resistance, distraction, everything that the nervous system can do to evade and move away from feeling.
That's a very good point. This is hard work, and it's work worth doing. It's work that's life-changing.
Absolutely.
So it's just an honor getting to be around people having the chutzpah and the courage to access things that are uncomfortable.
Yes.
And have an incredible shift happen so often, and a shift that people can remember and feel later in their bodies. This is like peeling the onion skin. Each retreats allows a person to go a little bit deeper. Anytime a person breathes with Patrick McKeown or Wim Hof or any of the famous breath teachers, it's deeper in opening up to their inner sanctuary. And this is no different. It's like one step, but sometimes a momentous, life-changing step in opening up and finding resolve to knotted areas of our life that have been there forever. We don't talk about the ancestors much or family histories much, but still this work addresses all of that powerfully.
So true, so powerfully. The lineage of baggage that we carry around.
Huge.
Yeah. And it's even more collective than just our own lineage. It's really that which binds us and connects us to the greater collective, the collective consciousness. We're not just undoing the trauma of our own ancestry and our own micro life in this body and in this time. We're also doing so with the connection of unwinding and de-armoring the greater group with the collective. And then that's why this being in a group is so powerful, because there's other brethren and sisters in the group that are all having their own emotional process. At the end of the day, it can result in a lot of permission and a lot of safety, because it can become more comforting to know that there's other people right next to you going through their process, and that you're all connected in this 12 person group synergistic movement and release, which is pretty powerful.
Amazing to me how these groups, time and again, people who've never even been there before, maybe never done breath work before, how quickly they feel at home. I mean, it's the
Mm.
environment. It's like something intuitively in our being knows this is incredibly potent medicine.
And even more so if you've got well equipped facilitators. It's important to also speak to the fact that right now breathwork is so trendy. Everybody is like, do the weekend quick crash course to become breathwork somatic certified in like 3 days or in a couple week program. And it's awesome, because I'm not trying to knock it. Like, it's really, really amazing that breath work and healing through breath and the somatic awareness and prevalence is becoming so much more highlighted and more well known. But on the other hand, it's really important for people to know that it takes more than just a 3 day course to have a facilitator who has the life experience and the clinical experience to really show up and be an adequate guide. It's not to knock that it's amazing and important that there's more people doing it, because the more people who are breathing, the better world we're going to be in. But when we're dealing with people who have really deep trauma and a lot of pathology, it's important for you all to know, who might be looking at this interview, that Siri, Gian, and I bring a collective of what? You have 50 years and I have like maybe 40 years, both in our own practices and also in being of service to others. That's the level of awareness and heart and expertise that you and I are bringing to this offering.
So you're a third generation breath worker with vast experience since you were a young child.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in an environment of permission to express and discover feelings. I'm a fourth generation teacher, and throughout my lineage, the teachers care deeply about they care more about the well-being of the students than about how they look or anything. They care about the students' well-being. I'm so honored to be with you, Ian. You're just an amazing human being, and
Likewise.
the synergy between us teaching together is really good. I
It
appreciate
is. It's quite a blessing. It's really nice. I'm so thankful for you, Siri Gian, in my life, having been a mentor to me for so many years, just being in my life, and then after my mom passing, bringing me under your wings a little bit more to mentor me, and then inviting me into co-facilitating with you. It's just surreal and an incredible blessing to me and my life and my family and my children and to the world. I'm just looking forward to so many more opportunities to do that with you, and more opportunities to help heal people and create a better world, stronger community. So thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
To wrap up our little interview here for the social media ethers, and for educating people, what would be your 2 words or phrase or word that you would like to end on?
Inner peace.
Inner peace. Amazing. And mine is going to be shut up and breathe. No.
That's what Ian's mom would say sometimes.
Yeah.
Amazing. One of the most gifted workers I can imagine on earth. And
Yeah, sometimes it's important to quiet the mind. We get stuck in our mind and we can loop and talk about the problems till our faces turn blue. But if we don't deal with it on a somatic physiological level and release, then we just keep talking about it and we keep looping. And so my mom's motto, of course, with great empathy and compassion, but also with a little poke and prod to challenge the resistance.
mm,
She would always just say, "Shut up and breathe." Like, just shut up, stop talking, breathe,
yeah.
breathe. Stop talking, breathe. So, because if you just shut up and quiet the mind and don't go in that loop and you just breathe, you will create space for movement and you will create space for surrendering to release.
So, Ian, if people want to get a hold of us and want to register for this retreat, September 4th to 7th, how can they do that?
You can just go to centerforhealingandexpression.org and click on events and click on Fall into Feeling Intensive. And they will find all of the information about the intensive. They'll find a button that they can click to apply for the intensive. Applying is very important because we can't just have people register without first screening them. We, of course, want to make sure that it's a safe container for everybody involved. So we do ask people to apply. Once you apply, and Siri, Gian, and myself will email you back and schedule a brief 15 to 20 minute discovery call on Zoom so we can see each other and talk and learn more about who you are and what you're looking for from this intensive. And also you can ask any questions from us to help you understand who we are and the work that we're doing.
Beautiful. Thank you. It's a pleasure making this video with you. Thank you.
Much love to you, Siri, Gian, and much love to all of you who might be watching this. We really hope that it helps shed some light and awareness on what it is we're offering on September 4th in Kenwood, California.